Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this is the second time you're seeing it if you've watched my first video on the idol. This is definitely a difficult time in media. I just want to reiterate once again that I do stand with everybody who is on strike. I want to make a video in the future. I was going to make it my next video, but I do have another deal I have to finish. But I do want to make a video in the future just kind of talking more about it in depth if you want to know more support. I'm gonna leave some information down in the description box below. Definitely go check it out. Support any way that you can. There's a foundation link that helps people who are on strike currently. This just really is important, and I appreciate everyone who is supporting me. Support them, because honestly, without the writers, without actors, I wouldn't have a job. With that being said, this is the second part of my idol recap, so if you haven't watched part one, you're probably gonna be confused in this video, but I hope you guys enjoy. It's a wild ride, but before we get into it, I do just wanna transfer over to the sponsor of this video real quick. Appreciate everyone who is supporting the sponsors, because right now they're really supporting me and keeping me afloat. Maybe just click on the link. You don't necessarily have to like use it, but like just click on it, show that you're interacting with it. I would really appreciate it. Okay, bye. I want to take a second and give a huge thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. As many of you guys know, Surfshark and I have worked together for years because I truly believe in their product. I use it all the time, I love it, and I love feeling protected and secure. Surfshark VPN is a virtual private network that keeps you safe and private by covering up everything that you do online, kind of like a mask. Anyone who wants to snoop on you won't be able to see what you're doing online and from what location. Using a VPN is honestly like wearing pants. When you go outside, all the private stuff is secure. So with Surfshark VPN, you can stay private on a public network, virtually connect to different streaming platforms in different countries. You guys, there's so much media out there that you don't even know about. You could honestly stumble upon your new favorite movie or TV show. Plus, my favorite thing of Surfshark VPN is that one subscription can go across multiple unlimited devices. So if you want to have it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, you are more than capable of doing it. Even share it with a friend. So if this sounds like an amazing deal to you, of course, I'm gonna hook you up as always. Click the link down below in my description box for 3 extra months free. This is an amazing deal, guys. Take advantage of it and stay safe out there. Thank you again to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's get back into it. If you were hoping that this episode would start off and give us any context to what happened in the last episode, oh, you were so wrong, and I'm so sorry. Starts off with Tedros waking up. Jocelyn tells her that he wants to take her shopping. The framing of this was really interesting because the lighting, you could tell, the curtains were drawn in the same way that like Leia wakes up Jocelyn every day. Since Sam is a visionary, right? And doesn't do things by the book. You would think that the sliver of light that is coming in for the window would frame her face and we could see her expression. Oh no, bitch. No, no, no. The lighting pops in and it illuminates her chest and just the very faint bottom part of her face. Because who needs the face when the boobs are there, right? I mean, Sam. He's gonna keep you on your toes, that one. Then honestly, it's a really long montage of Jocelyn and Tedros in the backseat of a car that Leia is driving. And honestly, it was trying to give Lana Del Rey, but it was giving we're going to spring break to Miami. But on top of that, just, you know, for our viewing pleasure and experience, we see Tedros eat Jocelyn out of the back of what is a very visible car. Yes, I had to read that because I still can't believe that that was a thing. Honestly, poor Leia just like having to be a hostage in this car and just sitting there witnessing all this. If it was me, I would have crashed the car into the nearest 7-Eleven and have called it a lifetime. I'm done. The slow motion gets me every single time. Every single time. Anyway, they show up to the Valentino store. You put lipstick in my white Valentino white. And they immediately get mobbed by fans. And you know what? For someone with low ticket sales, she's got a sturdy fan base. I'll give her that. But honestly, how sturdy? Because if someone there took a picture of her with Tedros and then turned around and posted it online, and by online I mean Twitter, lights out. Her ass flamed. Her ass cooked. You would think it was a 4th of July barbecue. On a serious note though, like I would love to see the reaction from Twitter when they see a pop star with a man who looks like he just won a contest to be her shoulder bag. You know, I feel like that would be a fun afternoon. We then get this fashion montage of Jocelyn trying on clothes, and the only thing I can think of is, now who in the hell is paying for all of this? I know it's not him. Chaim is paying her mortgage. He's emptying out her fridge. Let's be realistic here. But I think the point of this scene is to show that Tedros is
quite literally taking every part of her life under his wing. He's taking control even to the point of what she's wearing, which, like, okay, I guess so. But considering you took 15 minutes out of the last episode with the Wattpad on steroids scene, whatever it was, crime against humanity, I don't know, you could have used that to develop this arc. And again, you can use sex scenes in that way, but like, don't let it be your only plot device. Like, that just seems really lazy and like bad writing. But you didn't hear it from me. What I was saying before about the whole dominance thing, like, you're not very good at it, and this is a clear example of it.
Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm sorry,
Let
I'm
me
not
fucking catch you looking at her again. I'll fucking drag you down Rodeo while your fucking ass just fucking stomp you. I'll fucking curb stomp you.
I'm sorry.
I'll fucking curb stomp you.
First off, back up, get on a step stool so you can say whatever bullshit you want to our face and not our throat. Second, get a damn mint and stop spitting on us. And third, stop acting like you are in the 6th grade and you just learned how to curse and you are trying to look cool and intimidating.
While your fucking ass just fucking stomp you. I'll fucking curb stomp you. I'm sorry.
No, on the real, I get it. This scene is supposed to show him as like the scary guy, considering he was just having a really good time with Jocelyn and like laughing, and now he's... But I think that is what the issue is with this character. Whether it's the dialogue or the performance of the character, he just comes off so incredibly flat. If you want to have these moments where us as an audience are going to feel that tension shift and that personality change, and you want us to feel scared by him, then you have to have him actually be suave and charismatic, basically a con man who thinks that he can get whatever he wants. And I think that's what they're going for with this character, but I just don't feel like we ever get that with Tedros. Like, I feel like from the jump it's, oh look, he's creepy, he's scary, and we're just supposed to feel that the entire time, because I feel like that was almost a remark to the criticism of Tedros being like, oh, well, you feel creeped out by him? Good, you're supposed to. I think anyone with any kind of media literacy is going to know that and understand that that is the purpose of this character. But again, when he is so flat and he has these scenes of trying to be intimidating and trying to be scary, it doesn't show like the full potential or the full power that he could have, especially over Jocelyn. Again, I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody or just myself, but I feel like if we saw more of Tedros like being kind of cool and like saying the right things to Jocelyn and like coming off as this guy that you kind of want to root for but you kind of don't know him, I think it would have played off a lot better. But because he is so flat, it's almost like, okay, who cares? Like, just get him off the screen. Like, we know he's bad. I'm not supposed to root for him. I'm not. Trust me, I know that. But like, what do you want me to do in the meantime? Right? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, Leia gets on the phone and tells Destiny and Haim what's going on, and basically is like, look, this guy is taking over the house. He's creepy. I don't like him. What are we gonna do about it?
Gun. Oh.
Now listen, I ain't no snitch. But then we get a scene backtracking in the day because that's the only way Sam knows how to write. Honestly, side note, the majority of this show is like a back and forth timeline thing, and it just reminds me so much of Euphoria, and I just think it's really funny. Because, babe, why can't you just let your events flow? Because you need this to hide the fact that your writing is subpar? Anyway, we're at breakfast and Tedros tells Leia that Mike Dean is coming over and he's an actual real life producer. And he asks, where should he set up his equipment? And I find this hilarious because weren't they in a studio 2 episodes ago making this song? Did we forget about that? Or did I imagine it? I really don't know at this point. But Leia says that she needs to talk to Jocelyn about, you know, him coming over, the whole situation. And Tedros, he turns around and he says, I don't know if you're getting this, but I'm running the show now. He basically said, I'm the captain now. But she stands her ground and is like, okay, but I still need to talk to her. Like, I don't care what you're doing. Like, that's my boss and my friend. I gotta talk to her. And then he turns around and says this.
Are you fucking retarded? What did I just say? I'm running the show now.
No, listen, I understand. You need to paint the bad guys as a bad guy. But have we not already established that? I just don't think that's necessary. You can show it in so many different ways, but yet you want to do it like that. Okay, sure. Whatever. It's just annoying because Sam also did this in Euphoria with Maddie and had her say it multiple times. And I'm pretty sure he got called out during that time as well. And it's like he just hasn't learned or just doesn't care. I'm shooting for that one. And I have to say real quick, because I already know so many hate comments are going to be like, well, look at your homepage. Look how Euphoria is like your top videos. I agree. I love the first season. It has its hiccups. It has its little whatever. I love the first season though. The second season, we don't need to talk about it. And even with the second season being subpar, that's not even my issue. It's just like all the reports behind the scenes of Sam, that is my issue. I'll tell you when something is bad, but I will for sure as hell tell you when something is good. I am not afraid to be that bitch. But anyway, to make the whole situation even weirder and to really sock it to you that this guy is bad. You know, we're 3 episodes into a 5-episode series. That was supposed to be 6. In case you haven't figured it out yet. This guy bad. Very, very bad. Jocelyn is showing her chef how the food he is making is helping her body. They say something about probiotics, so I'm assuming it's supposed to help with bloating. Which, if that's the case, babe, hand over the recipe instat. The chef, though, does make an off comment that I will say is a choice. It is something.
You look amazing.
So much better. Wow. Right?
Your body's just so tight.
But obviously, Tedros gets extremely overprotective, extremely jealous, and flies off the handle.
Boundaries.
My family are doctors.
Are you a doctor?
No, I'm not, but my sister and
My friend's a gynecologist. You don't see me sticking my finger in everybody, do you?
Oh, he thought he ate, huh? But then he gets up and slaps the chef after just talking about boundaries. And then he wants Jocelyn to fire him. And she doesn't. She doesn't, girl, get out. Get out. Haim gets a call from the head of Live Nation, who is rightfully so having a cow because his client is not selling, they don't have a video, and he's frankly losing money. However, though, he then goes to say this.
Millions of dollars. Right now, she's making me have IBS. I'm fucking shitting more blood than a kid at Epstein's Island.
Whoever wrote that, jail. Like, I needed you in jail yesterday. Like, I had to pause the show and take a lap because what was that line? Anyway, back at the store, Jocelyn and Tedros are having a conversation, and Jocelyn is questioning Tedros on why he likes picking out the clothes so much. He basically turns around and insinuates that she just doesn't have taste, that he's helping her out and like he's such a sweet guy and blah 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 blah. This is honestly a low blow for Jocelyn. So in good old toxic fashion, she's got to go under the belt as well. And she knows where it will hurt because as a straight presenting man, I don't want to assume, you know? He is clearly not comfortable in his masculinity. And if you say this line to a guy, they will have a problem.
I think you're gay.
I ain't gay.
Dude, this scene is so funny to me because it's like, woo, you were called gay. Like, that's the worst thing in the world to be called. Get over yourself. Shut up. But anyway, so what does he do to prove his masculinity? Oh, I am so happy you asked. That's right, folks. He takes his masculinity by the actual balls and f***s her in the dressing room in Valentino. That will show her who's not gay. Like, do we not have any class? Do we not have any decorum? Really? Like, I wrote this part down and I don't want to get it wrong because there's no other way to explain it. This whole scene is embarrassing because it's such a fantasy sex scene that Sam clearly has had. I mean, Tedros is, I don't want to say slapping her face. It's more of a tap, but still. But basically, he's doing that motion while it feels like disciplining her for talking shit about him. And she's eating it up. Personally, for me, this is second tier to the last sex scene we had on the maybe we should have a little shame meter. Will we have another contestant? Stay tuned and find out. But Jocelyn then turns around and tells him, hey, babe, you can't come inside of me. And honestly, thank God there is a single brain cell left in that head of hers. But he gets pissy and is like, well, you know, I'm hard. What am I supposed to do? And she's like, figure it out. And I almost feel like the writers set this scene up to be like, see, look, women empowerment. Woo! We're feminists. But like, whatever. As long as she doesn't let him do that because like carrying his kids and being stuck with his ass for 18 years, Honestly, let's leave Valentino and go get tested. That sounds like a good afternoon. Finally, Jocelyn and crew make it back to her house where Destiny and Haim are waiting to interrogate Tedros. Honestly, they are playing him like a fiddle, and I love it.
I mean, to be honest, I was kicked out of school too. The similarities,
You
man.
got kicked out of high school?
I got kicked out of high school.
Why?
Beating fake ass bitches' asses.
Anyway, the whole team makes an agreement. 3 hit songs in 2 weeks. This really is about the halfway point of the season, and there's really nothing going on. Really though. And I say that because we finally get to see Diane working with Nikki and record a music video for World Class Center. It's finally getting interesting because this girl's career is literally being taken from her and she has no idea. And by her backup dancer, no less. But literally everything that I just showed you, that's all they show of that. That's it. Just sprinkled in some interesting plot and called it a day. Oh! Cigarette count. Ooh, kind of missed her. I don't know. I was starting to kind of think that she cared about her lungs in her singing career. But anyway, Tedros asked Xander if he had it his way, what would he do with Jocelyn's career? Xander proposes that if, had complete creative control, could do whatever he wanted, he would take the leaked photo of Jocelyn and make it the album cover. Now, I don't know if I'm losing brain cells as we speak. And as we talk more about this show, but why is he kind of making noise? I'm not saying to use the exact photo per se, but I am saying to take the narrative of what Twitter was calling her, the human cum sock, right? And use it and be like, yeah, I have sex and I look damn good while doing it. What about it? And sort of just make it like this huge power move. The only artist I've ever seen do it and do it well has been Taylor Swift. She was policed off the internet, called a snake, a liar, the whole 9 yards, and she disappears for a year. And what is her first post about? A snake. She uses that aesthetic and makes it her album theme, and it f***ing hits. Now, I'm not saying that Jocelyn needs to dress up like a questionable and stiff sock, if you know what I'm saying. I kind of see where he's going with it. Again, am I losing brain cells? Maybe. It then pans to Isaac singing in the studio, which I knew existed. Not them trying to tell me that it didn't exist. I knew I wasn't crazy. This show just doesn't know what it's doing. And he's singing the wrong ass song. I know this man can sing, but the choices that they're giving to him, they're doing him so dirty. Isaac then suggests to Jocelyn that they should sing together just to mess around, whatever, and she flat out says no. The whole team tells her that if Tedros had heard her say that, then he would be mad because they are not allowed to say no. Why, you may ask? Because it robs you from an experience, whether it's a good one or a bad one, that you can later then put it into your art and make it better. Now, if you're delusional and you're like, yeah, no, that doesn't sound bad. Okay, valid. The argument they give is astounding and just morally so wrong. I don't know how this got approved. But they get into this discussion about a singer. His name is Robert Plant, who had a son who died at 5 years old. This is real, by the way. Completely real. Real artist, real situation. They didn't even have the decency to make up some different kind of story. So he wrote All My Love, which is a super popular song. I'm positive that you have heard it at some point in your life, about his experience and what happened. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? They have a whole discussion on how we as a society would be harmed if that situation didn't happen, because then we wouldn't have gotten the song that we did. Jocelyn, for once, is using her brain and argues, yeah, it's a great song, but don't you think he would have rather had his kid than all the success?
So you think that by losing his son, he was able to write something that saved a lot of people's lives? And because of that, you'll say yes to anything anyone asks you to do?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the whole convo is just really icky, and it just makes me think of the conversation people try to have of artists' music is always better when they're depressed, and it's just so sad. I mean, there's such a huge range in human emotion. Why do you want your favorite artist to just forever be in this state of depression and sadness? You're weird. That's weirdo behavior. We then move on to a dinner party, and this scene in particular has me so conflicted because I feel like it's the first time we really see Jocelyn and Tedros go back and forth on dominance, and it is really interesting until you start listening to the dialogue and what they are actually saying. We're at dinner and everything is going well. We toast to finding our family and everyone looks like they're having a really good time, except for cum gun Tedros. He's a loaded cannon with rage and stupid one-liners. He brings up Xander's idea, which is funny because Xander is honestly really hesitant about talking about it and doesn't really seem like he wants to bring it up. They tell Jocelyn the idea of what the album cover should be, and you can immediately tell she is not a fan of it. Rightfully so. But Jocelyn actually brings up an argument that I support and I agree with.
There is no difference between the people making fun of me and the people supporting me. They're all capitalizing off of it, and they're just driving more people to look it up.
That's exactly why you should make your album cover.
Maybe ma'am has a point. But Tedros comes in, of course, when Jocelyn says she'll think about what she wants to make the album cover because she doesn't really want to bring up, you know, this discourse of this photo up again. And Tedros chimes in with his 2 cents saying, why not?
I feel like that had its moment. I'm not sure I want to bring
Who
it
gives a fuck?
because it's actually humiliating and like makes me feel really bad about myself.
Why?
She explains that she gives a fuck, quite frankly, and she cares because it is a humiliating situation. The situation of being put in that position that she never asked to be in the first place. Jocelyn then goes on to explain that she wants to be taken serious as an artist because her reputation is important to her. She has expressed in past dialogue she wants to make music that lasts beyond her lifetime, and Tedros just keeps on going. He keeps pressuring her to spill out her guts, and I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to probe, he's trying to pick, he's trying to get as deep as he can, and I think that's what he's done as like the cult leader to everybody else who is sitting at this table.
There's no such thing as the right risk at the right time. If it's risky for a reason.
No, but if it's the right risk, then you like basically know how it's gonna play out.
No, that's the exact opposite of a risk. That's playing it safe. That's what everyone else does.
Jocelyn then finally turns around and says this.
Why are you talking to me like I'm like new to the music industry? I'm not. You are.
Don't be rude.
And honestly, this whole scene, there is a lot of dialogue and I don't want to get a lot of it wrong. So I'm going to be looking at my notes. But at some point, Tedros turns around and says to her, well, why don't you just be yourself? You complain about making superficial music, be honest in your music and write about what you know, which like sounds like sound advice, but it's coming from such a dark place. Joss then turns around and says, hey, there's nothing about me that is relatable, which kind of ties back into what Nikki was saying in the first episode. Remember the whole thing of like, she's only gonna f you if she's mentally ill? Yeah, that thing. Xander then finally, after some back and forth, stands up for Jocelyn and says that what Jocelyn has experienced is pretty unique. It says that her mom is a rare breed, meaning this bitch knows something that we do not know. Tedros then asks, how so? To which then Jocelyn responds unwillingly with the story of how her mother would actually beat her with a hairbrush, and she would hit her anywhere and everywhere where people wouldn't notice. This was used as a tactic to make Jocelyn focus, and it was a form of motivation to keep her on track.
She'd do it to keep me from falling asleep, tell me to wake up on time. She'd do it if I overate, if I didn't exercise, or if she ever caught me smiling to myself.
At this point, I'm feeling so bad for Jocelyn because obviously no one should ever go through that, but you can tell that this girl just needs some therapy. She needs grief counseling. She needs to know how to go about her feelings on this situation. There is a reason that she is having such a hard time without her mom going back into her career because she's only known that lifestyle. She's only known how to be creative and how to be productive while having her mom literally beat her. She needs that guidance from professionals, and it honestly sounds like she never got it, which is so sad. I'm like, that would be my first thing. Like, girl, I don't know how to help you, but I want to help you. Let's get you some professional help. Tedros then kind of goes on this weird blame game, which I am not about, asking Jocelyn if she ever said or did anything to stop it and why she didn't, and then turning around to Xander, who did know it was happening, and saying and pretty much insinuating that he never said anything because he was getting paid. It really was such an uncomfortable moment, which I think they were going for. Delivered, did that. But I was really happy to see Jocelyn say that she did not blame Xander at all for what had happened.
And you felt like Xander was there for you?
In a lot of ways, yeah. I think it was just such a horrible, fucked up situation that no one really knew what the right thing to do was.
Tedros then asks if Jocelyn misses it. He clarifies not missing getting hit, but missing the motivation that it gave her. And Jocelyn starts to tear up, and she's honest and says, you know, sometimes I do. Which I know a lot of people had a problem with this line in particular, which I get because, like, obviously you don't want to hear that. But I feel like with abuse victims, there is like a really weird cycle afterwards of not knowing how to navigate it and navigate these very complex and difficult emotions. And I feel like that is normal, especially for someone in this kind of a situation who hasn't had any other professional help and who has a lot of yes men around her. But then he asked to Jocelyn, if you felt like the music you were making that you loved it, would you feel like it was worth it, the abuse? And she nods her head yes. Again, not an ideal answer, but I think that comes from complexity of emotions. But I get where like that could be coming from. People deal with traumatic events in very different ways. It's not a linear situation and we shouldn't treat it like it is. With that being said though, where they did up, Tedros turns around and asks if she still has that hairbrush. Let me finish. She says yes. And what does he say?
Still got that hairbrush?
And she happily does. It's like, I can't even, I can't scream because my voice is literally going. But like, it just made me so disappointed. And this was the first time in the show, not even the sex scenes, not even the creepy dialogue, not even the, where I genuinely felt sick to my stomach and I was like, I don't know if I could finish this show. I know there's only 2 episodes left and I want to see if anything happens with the whole like Diane situation. But this is so just disgusting. I don't even know how to handle it. And they almost frame this moment in a romantic way that he really is doing this to better her music and give her inspiration. Bitch, take her to therapy. Don't induce the thing that gave her trauma. But she goes and she gets her brush and we watch him whack her in the ass while his song, with again the lyrics that are a little too on the nose, is playing. This whole thing lasts like 5 minutes, by the way, and it ends with scenes of him taking care of her after telling her, and I quote, "This is really gonna hurt, but if you push through the pain, it will be beautiful." Xander is in the corner crying watching this because I'm sure this is bringing up past feelings of not saying something when it was her mom. Because how is he going to say anything now when this dude Tedros is literally in charge of the entire house? He's literally in the same position that he was years and years ago with Jocelyn's mom. We hear her scream, we see her cry out in pain, to then going and taking a bath with him. And the last dialogue of this episode is her thanking him for taking care of her.
Thank you for taking care of me.
Like I said, this one almost broke me. I think if this was like a full fleshed out season, I don't think I would have finished it. I think the only reason I decided to finish it was because there was only 2 episodes left. Anyway, we open up with yet another weekend song with lyrics a little bit on the nose. The crew is cleaning up the house from the last party that they just threw, which includes, but is not limited to, pulling a dildo off of the wall. I don't even have words at this point. Like, I feel like I need a shower just by talking about this show. Like, I just need to get it off of me. Destiny finds out more about Tedros, whose name is actually Mauricio Jackson. That was a choice. And he, shocker, has been in a whole lot of trouble. Arrested for kidnapping his ex-girlfriend and beating her up. Kind of trouble. Mike Dean finally shows up to the house smoking a bong out of the car because why not? I guess. They go into the house and start looking for a place to set up their recording equipment. Like, did everyone forget there is a literal studio downstairs? Cigarette count. At the house, she immediately meets Chloe and hears her perform this song about being a crocodile. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, but hey, it's something. But Destiny can hold a note.
That's why it's covered. Ooh, but you want it out. Ooh,
Get in the booth right now, Jocelyn. But anyway, we learned more information about Chloe and how she met Tedros, but she was homeless and he saved her off of the streets, which is, you know, fun. Especially then because Destiny asks, Chloe, girl, how old are you? And Chloe responds, I'm 18. Meanwhile, we finally see Diane again, and she is meeting basically with Jocelyn's whole team and the head people at the company to get signed and have her first single be World Class Sinner. I honestly love Jenny's acting here because even though she didn't have a lot of dialogue, she actually honestly really didn't say much. You can totally get a sense of the emotion just all within her face.
We pair you with the top producers in the industry. You'll have features on all the major streaming platforms, bumps in the algorithm, a full team of legal support at your...
It's like she's trying to handle what is being told, but she wants to cry because it's something that she has wanted for a really long time. And I don't know, I was just like, ooh, okay, acting. I see you. I see you. Back at the house, Dee gives notes on the song that Tedros and Joss are working on, saying she likes it, but it needs a little more oomph. Tedros has an idea. As always, that brilliant man. And he knows just the trick. He then proceeds to take out a mic with a blindfold on it. Oh my God, here we go again. Because it's exactly what you think it's gonna be. And worse.
I'll say.
Like, damn, y'all might as well just jump in and join and get a featured credit on this song.
That's down.
Fast forward, we have Xander in the shower singing when creepy-ass Tedros walks in and overhears him. Obviously, he's played by Troye Sivan. It's amazing singing. Cigarette count. Tedros then asks Xander, hey, why don't you sing anymore? Like, why aren't you out here having this big old career? He responds with, it's complicated, and basically hints that there is more to the story that he doesn't want to say. Boundaries. All right, we can respect that. Right, Tedros? Right?
Bring him down here! Bring him down! Shut the fuck up! Touch your throat! What the fuck? Shut up!
Lay him down.
Josh can't save you!
So this is another scene that like I kind of want to get as much correct as possible, so I'm going to be looking at my notes, but Tedros asks Xander again why he doesn't sing anymore. He responds with, I tore my vocal cords a couple years ago. Tedros responds with, yeah, Jocelyn told me that, but you sound great. So you're either healed or you're lying. But what we didn't know until now, I guess Jocelyn also told Tedros that her mom outed Xander when he was only 13, and it hurt him a lot. He left the show that he was apparently on. Like, I don't really know what this show is. I think Jocelyn was on it. Apparently though, he didn't know that it was her mom that outed him till much later, and at that point, basically, you know, he kind of felt like it was too late to really say or do anything. Tedros brings the idea up of singing again, and Xander replies with, have you asked Jocelyn how she feels about that? Which is interesting. Xander starts to explain though why it would matter, and it cuts back to Jocelyn handing Tedros the shock collar. Whatever he told Tedros definitely got back to her, and oh boy, is she pissed.
I said the fucking truth,
That's
Jocelyn.
not fucking true, Xander.
Yes,
what the fuck is wrong with you?
He reveals, right? He reveals that her mom made him sign a contract that would prevent him from ever singing again. She didn't like that he was talented and wanted him out of the spotlight. Joss claims that he's lying, but girl, I don't know. I've seen some of these stage moms and it kind of sounds possible because they're crazy. If they feel like you are a threat to their child, you're gone. Like, I think Xander's lucky that he's alive at this point. Xander pleads to Tedros to not shock him and states that Tedros doesn't understand the years that she took away from him, the career that he could have had, the life he could have had. And you think that he's talking about her mom. No, he's talking about this bitch Jocelyn.
Controls everything around her and everyone. And now she's doing it to you.
Lying to my fucking face about
I'm not fucking lying, you stupid bitch!
Tell the fucking truth, Xander.
Honestly, Tedros for the first time looks frightened. Like, this bitch, I think, needs to go check if his pants just got shot in. At that point, Xander pleads with Tedros and just is like, yeah, I'm lying. But you can tell that it's just a way to get him to not be shocked anymore, because I really don't think he was lying. And then after that, we move on to the next song that Jocelyn is working on, and it honestly sounds like a Lana Del Rey reject.
I can smell you on my skin still from last night.
And you can't tell me otherwise. I know I'm right. We then go back to Xander, who has undoubtedly pissed himself and is still tied up. But Isaac comes and frees him, cleans him up a little bit, and tells him he has a mission he needs to complete for Tedros. Right. Okay. Oh, cigarette count. We finally move on from all that to a party, and guess what? I finally saw a dick in an HBO show. Woo! Well, I say that like I haven't seen many, but I was very surprised that it took this long to see a dick. HBO, we're learning, we're growing. Speaking of dicks, Tedros is an absolute one to Leia. What's new? Anyway, Diane shows up to the house and is talking to Tedros? Jocelyn sees this and is confused because as far as she knows, Diane also met him at the club for the first time and hasn't really been around since, so why would she be talking to him? Chloe fills her in though and is like, girl, no. Tedros manages her. She spills that Di really is into Tedros and that when Tedros told Di to bring her to the club, she didn't have a problem with it because she didn't think that they would start hooking up. Jocelyn is shook by this, girl, because now she knows Diane's a traitor and she's been lied to not only by her but by Tedros as well. Diane comes over to Jocelyn to talk. She tells her when she left the other day, Nikki asked her to step in and one thing led to another and now basically she's gonna be signed and they're giving her World Class Sinner as her first single, the song that Jocelyn has like, you know, had a frenzy over releasing this entire time, but it's still a big betrayal. Whether she liked the song or not, it's still like, well, that was supposed to be what I was putting out, you know? Jocelyn surprisingly has such a good attitude about it and it's just like, yeah, you know what? The song is yours. I would feel bad if I like stopped you from this good opportunity. Go on, go do it. I support you. And while I feel like she does feel betrayed by Diane for this whole situation, I think the biggest problem she's having right now though is Tedros. You know, that's her collaborator right now with the music. That's someone she's been sleeping with, letting him into her house with all these other strange people. Like, yeah, why wouldn't she be mad? Jocelyn goes and texts her ex-boyfriend to come over, and honestly, that's pretty typical for any girl. When you need rebound dick, like, you do what you gotta do. I really don't blame her. Tedros gets wind of this, though, and becomes insufferable. Here comes protective and overjealous man-child to the rescue. Tedros goes up to this man and just is having shot after shot, and he's about to hurl because he drank way too much, and Rob, you know, the ex-boyfriend, is like, bro, maybe you shouldn't drink anymore. Like, maybe you should stop. To which Tedros responds with,
"Oh, you sure you want to do another one?
What are you, a faggot?"
Why? But honestly, here's the thing that I think is really, really funny. I didn't bring it up before, but after he scared Xander, right back like when he was taking a shower and all that, he jokingly said, right, why were you scared? Did you think I was gonna butt f you? Honestly, after making these comments and getting so defensive over someone else making a comment towards him, it's starting to give Glass House, babe. It's giving, I'm not into that gay shit. Unless. Anyway, Jocelyn comes in and completely throws Tedros to the side. It's so funny because Rob is like, hey, do you know this guy? She looks not even like at him. She looks through him and is like, no, and I don't want to. And then they go upstairs. And that destroys this man to his core. His little tiny ego is crushed and it's so good to see. Yeah, so besides the sex, like nothing else really crazy happens in this scene. I mean, the only thing is you get a sense of who Rob is, and Rob seems like he really knows who Jocelyn is deep down, talking about like, you know, why didn't you ever tell me about your mother? Would have been there for you. I remember you bathing her, taking care of her when she was sick, blah, 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 blah. And it like makes me want to root for him until I remember that he cheated on her and possibly leaked the photo. We never find out who leaked the photo, but that would have been so cool to have her connect with him and then turn around and it be like he was the one that leaked the photo. There could have just been so many cool whatever. So after that little escapade, right? Rob is leaving. He's fleeing the scene after slaying the puss. And he gets stopped by Xander and one of the girls that's in like Tedros's cult. We haven't really seen her before and who cares? The girl wants a picture with Rob because she's a huge fan. Rob's kind of hesitant and is like, I kind of want to go. He stops and takes a photo because why the hell not? Sits down on the stairs and this girl like straddles him, gets on his lap and is taking these like very suggestive photos. And Xander is eating it up. It's like, yes, babe. Yes, sweetie, you're doing great. And Rob is not having any of it, understandably. Kind of shoos her off, tells Xander delete the photo, and then leaves. And that's the last we see of Rob. But I immediately have a bad feeling in my stomach because if you remember, last time we saw Xander, he was given a mission. But we won't see the outcome of that until the next episode, which is now episode 5. Finally, the finale. We made it, guys. Thank God, oh my. Going into this finale though, I was like, how in the hell are we gonna conclude everything that has happened? Because again, simultaneously a lot has happened, but at the same time, nothing has happened. I don't know how Sam has managed to craft that kind of style of television, but he does it well. Anyway, the episode starts off with Jocelyn singing her songs, and I'm guessing finalizing the album that she wants to turn into the album. To the label. Girl, I've been filming for like 3 hours. What is a brain? I don't know. Honestly, the first half of this episode is like kind of slow, kind of whatever, especially for a finale. I remember just like checking the time on a finale to be like, is it almost over? I have never done that with a show. Usually I'm checking it to be like, oh my God, I hope it's not almost over, because like I want to keep going. I want to know what's going on. I could not wait. I was like, are we done? Are we there yet? Literally, are we there yet? But a couple things happen at the house, establishing again, you know, it's not in the greatest state right at the moment. But long story short, basically all of that comes to a head when the whole entire team of Jocelyn is heading to the house for a big meeting. They want to talk about the tour. They want to say if it's even happening or not. First off, let's start there. But anyway, they show up at the house and all of the people in Tedros's cult are like, honestly, like flies to shit. They are so excited to have like music executives and like people in the industry to show up that they're just throwing their talent at them and their groins. That's a choice. And honestly, this is half of the episode of a finale. Like, do we really have time for a 30-minute showcase in an hour episode? I don't think so. I'm honestly like not even gonna talk about it because it just felt like a really long American Idol audition, and who has the time? Who cares? Like, let's just finish the show. During the showcase, though, we finally hear Rob and Leia talking. And he is flipping out because he wants to talk to Jocelyn because he wants her to clear his name. Because there are rape allegations against him that are not true. Yeah, the photo that Xander took is being used to prove that he raped this girl at Jocelyn's house. But like, as if it wasn't already hard for victims to come forward, like we really have to do this whole storyline? Like, come on. Really? Really? Anyway, Jocelyn finds out about the situation. She looks really upset. Like, it doesn't look like she knows any of that is happening. She pulls him out of the room and confronts him, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? And I wrote this down because, oh God. She wants him to leave. He says no. Jocelyn then says that she'll call the cops. He says, then I'll take you hostage. She says, then they will kill you. And then he says, not before I kill you first, bitch. Jocelyn has finally had enough. Finally. Literally finally. Like, girl, I was done first 5 minutes we met this man. Why did it take you so long? But she goes up to Chaim and says, pay what you have to and get him out of my life. And Chaim is down. He jumps off the couch. Like, I think he left a little fire trail behind where he was running because he was going that fast. Meanwhile, the showcase finally, if that's what you want to call it, but like the little concert in the living room is done, and everyone who performed is now opening for Jocelyn on tour, because that's how that works. But we still have time for one more performance from the legendary girl herself, Jocelyn. I mean, is it a performance or is she having a seizure? Can we get 911 on the phone? They put Tedros in this shady ass car, I don't even know where, and Chaim looks at Tedros and offers him $500,000 for him to get out of Jocelyn's life and just never appear again. Tedros, the broke ass man that he is, actually tears up the check and says she's worth more than that, and basically is like, bitch, I'm not going nowhere. So Chaim gets out of the car and says to him, okay, well, now we go to plan B. I fucking love plan B. I prefer it. And that's all we see of that. Bitch, I know you have a gun. Kill him. Get rid of him. But while all of this is happening, Miss Queen Leia herself is leaving a note for Jocelyn, basically saying that she quits. She's packing up all of her shit. She leaves the house, and that's the last we ever see of her. Now, me personally, I'm a nosy bitch. I want to know what's in that letter. I hope she told her off. I know she didn't, but I really hope she did. Then it cuts to Nikki and Diane talking. And basically, now that Nikki's, pop star is back on track, the tour is happening, this, that, whatever, she's talking to Di and basically says that there's a legal issue with her releasing the song, and ultimately hinting that Di is not going to release the song and More so, not even have a career. Diane leaves the office, and with one final look at Nikki, she says,
It was Jocelyn, wasn't it?
hinting that Jocelyn, because she is a writer on the song, had a problem with her singing it. Which, like, I get, because again, she did backstab her. She did lie. She did get Joss and Tedros together. I get the anger, but like, aw, poor Di. Again, I support women's rights and wrongs. Anyway, it cuts back to Chaim, and he's talking to the Vanity Fair lady. Remember, we talked about her in the first episode. She didn't really come into play into this episode. Until this episode. Girl, thank God this video is almost done. Oh my God. But anyway, instead of doing a piece on Jocelyn, she ends up doing a whole entire expose on Tedros. And they expose his ass for everything that he has done. It kind of sounds like it was a juicy expose because the way that they were talking about it later on, which by the way is 6 weeks later, and it opens up to her being on her tour. 6 weeks? This timeline just doesn't make sense. You're telling me within those 6 weeks she got ready for a tour, she released an album. Last time I heard, she didn't even release a single, and she released 3 in 6 weeks. We get Nikki talking about the article and how it affected Tedros. And this line stuck out to me because, again, it further proves my point of the two scripts or like the two situations or the reshoots, people not taking care of their content, really clashing.
You know he lost his club.
Fucking guy lost
Good.
everything.
I mean, thank God lost his
Even
club.
his rat tail they took.
Like, did y'all even try? Like, I'm so confused. Anyway, it's the night of the first show. They show the stadium, and it honestly took me out because I immediately recognized that it was SoFi Stadium, and I immediately recognized that it was the Weeknd stage. Comes to find out, they actually filmed the scenes of her on stage. I think it was after his show, but it was during one of his concerts, which, I mean, again, makes sense because you're running out of money. You used his house. You might as well use his stage as well. But next thing I know, Tedros is walking up to the box office of the stadium and asks the lady if there's an artist pass left for him. And guess what? There is. There is. Because right when we think we got rid of him, he just shows up like a nasty little mosquito. He goes to her dressing room and Destiny is there and basically gives this whole speech of like, if you hurt her, I'm gonna kill you bullshit. And honestly, f you at this point. Like, I know you can't make decisions for her and like you're doing the best you can, but like, f you. I was rooting for you. I don't want anyone talking to him. I don't want him around. I don't like him. And I know that's the point, but like, ugh. And his whole demeanor too is like a wounded puppy. Ooh, feel bad for me. Am I supposed to care? Because I don't. Him and Jocelyn have a whole moment. I don't like being apart. This wouldn't mean much without you. Blah, blah, blah. We're Romeo and Juliet. Blah, blah, blah. But then this scene happens, and this is where everybody is divided on what exactly it means.
Did you say this was the brush your mom beat you with?
I did.
It's brand new.
Many people took this as Jocelyn's been lying about the abuse and that this is like the final nail in the coffin of like, ooh, see, Jocelyn's been in control the whole time. She's the one that's been manipulating everyone around her. I personally did not take it that way at all. I think personally she got a new brush to symbolize a new chapter in her life. She's now going to be in charge of him. Right? Because that's the same instrument of trauma, but it's the same instrument of like her inspiration. Because with him around, you know, she wrote like a hit album. She had 3 hit singles. The tour is all completely sold out. They had to upgrade to a stadium because there was so much demand. It's basically saying that she needs him around for her to be the creative person that she is. And honestly, he is in no position to say no because after the expose, who's gonna want him around? Like, he's basically trapped. And he, I think, realizes that. Even after that explanation doesn't make me feel better than the other one because it's just like, what the f***? Sure, okay. I don't know, like, I'm not opposed to her being the villain, but I am opposed to it happening in a lazy way. I feel like she could be the villain because so much toxic, manipulative shit has happened within her team, the industry, that she's almost a product of it. But when you don't show that whole process, it just doesn't hit the same. Finally, it's showtime and Jocelyn goes on stage to start the show and she opens it up by saying, "Hello, angels," which is kind of funny because that's what Tedros says to her. Again, I think it's that like, see, she's in charge now. It's flipped. Jocelyn goes on to give the big speech about thanking the fans for support. You know, normal artist stuff. But then she says this.
Because I have the opportunity to introduce you to the love of my life. Tedros.
Oh girl, no. Don't embarrass me like this. But she does. She brings Tedros on stage and kisses him in front of everybody. Her team is throwing an absolute fit. The opening acts are fine with it because I mean they were like his little believers at one point, so it makes sense. Jocelyn turns around and says to Tedros, "You're mine forever," and tells him to stand on the side of the stage, which I think is trying to further prove like her dominance over him or like she's in charge. It ends with the title on Jocelyn on stage but ready to perform for her fans. Which, if I was them and I was a huge fan and I saw the whole article and I saw him on stage, I would leave. I'd be like, who the f am I supporting? I want a refund immediately. But apparently, that's the Idol. That's the show, baby. If you haven't seen it and this was your first experience of it, I am so sorry. I honestly forgot I was wearing glasses, but like it's hurting my head because I've been sitting here for almost 4 hours. My final thoughts on the show, again, everything that I talked about, or anytime I think about the show, it really makes me wish that we got the original version. I would die to see, even because I know it wasn't finished, but I would love to see what they had done because I do think it would have been a really, really cool project. I honestly have nothing else to say. You can hear it in my voice. I'm dying. So I'm gonna go, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this format, maybe we can do this again. If not, noted. We'll never do this again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff I'm supposed to say. Love you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, angels.